Haley, and if you've stuck around on my channel since the beginning of 2017, you would know I kicked off last year with a story time video. That was my braces horror story experience, and you guys seem to love that video. So I thought, let's ring in 2018 the same way with a good old horror story slash complaining story time experience type of video. So in today's video, I'm going to be telling you 2 short stories about my bad experiences getting my blood drawn, and one of them has to do with the actual getting the blood drawn, and the other one has to do with the mean phlebotomist I got. Super quickly before I get into the stories, make sure to subscribe down below if you have not already, and hit my little bell for notifications so you never miss one of my uploads. But with all that being said, we can get right into my stories. Quick disclaimer, I'm not trying to bash on the phlebotomist in the second story or anything. I'm not trying to say she didn't know how to do her job. She clearly did. I'm just sharing my frustration with the experience and expressing it to you guys from my point of view. So this isn't meant to be a hateful video at all. If anything, it's getting those bad 2017 vibes out the door so we can ring in the rest of the year with some good vibes in 2018. After that little disclaimer, we can set the scene for the story. So this first story is almost like a background info type of story to the second one. This first story takes place freshman year. I am currently a senior, so this was about 4 years ago. It was the day before Thanksgiving 2014, and I had to go get my blood drawn. Before this, I've had my blood drawn before, but never like in an actual hospital or room. I've only had it done before surgery. If you watch my braces video, linked in the description, you would know that I had to get 2 oral surgeries, and within both of those surgeries, they drew my blood first, but I was just like so nervous and there was so much going on that it just like hurt, and it was kind of like whatever because I was more stressed about the actual surgery and I didn't know it was coming. So that wasn't really a big deal, so I kind of expected getting my blood drawn not to be fun, but just not a big deal, you know? So I went into this place, and it wasn't in a normal hospital, it was a lab, and I have to kind of explain the layout for later in the story. So basically, there was just a little lobby, and then you went to the back to the lab area, and then they drew your blood. For this, I went to the back to get my blood drawn, and I don't know if my dad went with me or not. He might have been there, but I'm not sure. So I go and I'm getting my blood drawn, about to, you know, get the needle in my arm, whatever. When I get my blood drawn, this is one of the most painful things I've ever experienced in my life. Like, I have a high pain tolerance. If you heard if you saw my braces experience stories, I've had multiple surgeries before. But like I'm saying, I have a high pain tolerance. For this, when the phlebotomist is drawing my blood, it literally feels like, I describe it to everyone in this exact way, like a metal rod going into my arm. Like that thick and that painful, and it just hurt so bad. But whatever, I was just like, wow, this is very, very painful and not what I expected, but it's over with. So I'm going and I get up after getting the blood drawn, and I'm walking back to the lobby, and I'm starting to feel kind of dizzy and a little nauseous, which obviously was not a good sign. So then vividly in my head as I'm walking back, I have this memory, like every single time I tell the story, I tell people this, and I vividly remember in my head as I'm walking, feeling dizzy, I see like palm trees swaying in the wind, and I felt like I was like a palm tree just like swaying back and forth. And then I see my mom and I say the words, "Mom, I feel dizzy," and then bam, I plopped to the ground and I fainted, and I literally fainted, like I fell to my knees and fell forward onto my knees, and it literally looked like I was about to go pray or something, like I was just like down. I was only actually out and fainted like completely and I don't know, unconscious, whatever the word, for like 10 seconds or something. Luckily the lobby was empty, so it wasn't too embarrassing. But then all the nurses and people came out and they helped me onto a bench and gave me water. But that sucked. That experience, it was just kind of bad in the sense that I fainted and it was painful, but like the actual phlebotomist lady was nice. The other experience is opposite of that. This past experience occurred this spring, so lucky little me found out I had to get my blood drawn, which again, no one likes. And after fainting the first time, I was a bit traumatized from that experience. Let's be honest here, I was not looking forward to getting it done again. I was gonna go into this with a brave face to just get it over with. So the day eventually rolls around when I have to go get my blood drawn. My mom and I go, we're in the room, you know, and then the phlebotomist lady comes in. Something about me is when I'm nervous, especially for like a medical procedure, I tend to ask a lot of questions, and I don't do this to try to stall the thing. I do it literally just because I'm curious and want to know, like, just about the procedure, and it would make me less nervous if they answered the questions. But this phlebotomist lady was not having it. She would not answer any of my questions, and also before this, I didn't know how much blood they were drawing, so I asked her how many of like the little vials or tubes or whatever they were taking, and the lady refused to tell me how much they were taking, which is kind of like, I get that you might not want to freak me out or something, but like, you're not taking that much, so can I just know, like, it would make me feel better? But she refused to tell me, and that was the first little warning sign that this lady was not the nicest. Then after refusing to tell me that, we're about to get get the blood drawn and all that, and we tell her about the past experience and the fainting, but this time also I went into the experience prepared. That morning I drank so many glasses of water to make sure she would easily be able to see my veins, because I read that drinking a lot of water and being hydrated beforehand helps with that. And then I also had a bunch of snacks and banana bread. That was very good that day actually. But I had a bunch of snacks and stuff too to get my blood sugar going, just to make sure I did not faint, and trying to prevent everything that I could. So we told her basically like about the last experience, but my mom tried to like spin it off as like, oh, but she'll have a great experience with you and she wants to like now have a good experience, something like that. And basically this lady, she goes and she's gonna go start drawing my blood, and she tells me to lay down on the table, and I start to lay down and I just don't feel comfortable doing it like this. In the other place they just had me in a chair sitting up with my arm against a thing, and I just felt so much more comfortable doing it like that and standing up or sitting up. But this lady was not having it. She basically said like,
any of my patients are laying down, especially those who faint.
And I guess I get it like from a liability standpoint, but like most doctors, if their patients have to get like a procedure that isn't fun and they clearly don't want, they'll do their best to be accommodating and make them feel most comfortable, because I just did not feel comfortable laying down. But the lady basically, we just kept going back and forth and she refused to let me just sit up. And then as we're about to do it, I don't even remember if I was sitting up or laying down at this point. She's about to do it and then I'm like, oh, is it okay if I just take like 10 seconds of deep breathing? Because I wanted to calm myself down and just not freak out for the actual shot thing. But this lady refused to let me breathe. She literally is like,
you're talking, so you're breathing.
And I'm like, can I please just breathe? Don't you want me to be calm? Won't this be easier for you that way? And eventually this whole exchange and this whole her being in the room literally was like 2 minutes long. And then she basically storms out and it's like,
I have other patients to deal with and you're taking too much time.
And I'm like, 2 minutes? So, and also this is like a small doctor's place. Like there is not that many people there. Like it's kind of like an independent, not independent, but you know what I mean? Like it's a small practice. So basically the lady leaves and then me and my mom were sitting in that room, and I'm pretty sure I still had like the tourniquet or whatever on my arm, like the thing that makes your veins bulge. For like 15-20 minutes, no idea where this lady's going. And eventually a nurse comes back in the room and then she tells us we're moving rooms. And they don't move us to another room. They move us to this like little cubicle thing. Not very private, not very like nice. Like, eventually the lady comes back and we're about to go do it again. My mom basically says like, we'll sign whatever liability or waiver you want. Can she please just sit up and we can get this all over with? I was trying not to be difficult, but I just really did not feel comfortable laying down. So basically, eventually she just agrees to let me sit up, and then I'm like, okay, can I take the deep breaths? And then she said the whole,
you're talking, you're breathing, blah, blah, blah.
Does not want me to take the deep breaths still. I don't even remember. She said something else and I don't remember what it was, but that like ticked me off. So then I started crying, and I wasn't like screaming or anything. I was just like crying. And then the lady goes and she's like,
can you calm down and be quiet? I don't want you scaring away other patients.
And I'm like, lady, you're being mean to me. She was like yelling at me, and I'm just like, and this whole exchange maybe has been like 2 minutes again, like not very long. She's very impatient, she's just done. And I'm like, after that, I don't remember what happened, but eventually she just did it like 30 seconds later. I have my eyes closed, I'm just freaking out, you know, like, oh God, this is not fun, this hurts. And then she's like,
you know you can open your eyes.
And I'm like, I don't want to see you taking blood. I don't want to see the blood leaving my arm and going into little vials, like no thank you. And that was just kind of annoying, but that was the end of that experience. So those are basically my stories, and I can understand if you're watching this and you're like, oh, but you were being difficult and you didn't listen. Like I tried to be accommodating and do what she did, but she was just very rude and abrasive and like very impatient, and I don't know. It's hard to, you kind of had to be there to experience it. Could have just laid down, but I just didn't feel comfortable like that. So basically that was my story. Again, feel how you want about these stories. Like they're just kind of funny memories to look back on. But me and my mom were both kind of angry after we left just because the lady was very, very rude. But yeah, if you enjoyed those stories, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe down below. I have a lot of great videos coming in 2018. I'm also trying to change up the background. I got some new throw pillows back there and stuff. I need to take down the Christmas tree, I'm sorry. But if you want me to do a different filming background, let me know. I'm trying to test things out, see what works. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below if you've not already, and hit my little bell for notifications because you never want to miss one of my uploads. With all that being said, I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!